it had an error message. I thought, oh no, not again. Hello, everybody. It doesn't say I'm live yet, but I'm going to assume I'm live. This is what we've learned since the beginning. Hi. Hello, everybody. As Meg likes me to say every time. How are you? I'm flying solo today. She is living one of our core values. She's off volunteering for a local golf benefit, the Geist tournament up in Bellefouche today. She's an organizer and a participant, so she's up there. Shelly has been noting the windiness of the conditions today, so we're hoping that she's still having fun, even though it's kind of nuts outside for golfing. It's great to be here. Happy July. Can you believe it's July? It's like March took 10 years, and all of a sudden it's July. I don't know what happened to all of those things. I had Shelly's email up a second ago, but there it is. I was chasing something else a minute ago. So thanks for being here. We've been doing having a lot of fun. We are working on some new client development, which is terribly exciting. We can't tell you a thing about that yet, but soon I'm sure you'll hear all about it. We also have several executive coaching clients that we're working with, and I got to see one of mine this morning. It's always an amazing way to start out your day, to get the update and to see what's going on with everybody. We're going to be closed on Friday in observance of Independence Day. We just remembered this a week ago, but yeah, I wonder what are you guys doing for your day off? Hopefully you get a day off. I was just trying to figure this out myself. I think I'm going to needing to repaint my outhouse because it got nailed by ping pong / racquetball size hail a couple weeks ago, and I've been meaning to do it. I just haven't gotten to it, so maybe Friday if it's not too windy. If you have big plans, you should share them. What else are we gonna do? I gotta get a big hiking. We're getting our 100-mile hike going. We're leaving in a couple weeks, so I'm kind of like starting to figure out food and all that stuff. So that's kind of probably what I'll be doing on our 4th of July day. We did want to mention I have some upcoming project management classes on August 10th through the 14th. That's all about getting things done better, faster, more efficiently, organizing the chaos in your brain, and all of that good stuff. So as you guys know, I'm super chaos tolerant, and one of the ways that I actually can take all the ideas I have in my head and actually help get them out of my head is through project management. And there's a huge range. I learned project management on the Landsat satellite mission when I was there, and they had a very structured, very detailed, very process-oriented project management plan. That was a whole lot of overhead. Well, and that was important because it was a 24/7 mission, and never could have downtime. And so, but most of us don't have that much rigor in our day, so or in our role. And so what we can do is we have narrowed down the essentials of project management to what you actually could use in a practical way in your everyday life. So it really is designed for you and to help you achieve more things faster. Spend less money too. Okay, so the monthly theme of July is my favorite. Change is thrilling. It's part 2 of the book, and it's so perfect right now because everyone's going through all this big change. And if you are going through a big change, I hope that you are finding some small part of excitement in the change, because that's what makes it so amazing. As you recreate processes and structures in your life and see opportunities that arise, those things lean into those things if you can, because a lot of people are really afraid of those times and transitions, and there's so much more opportunity to be gained if you can lean into the transition. So my favorite month, change is thrilling. We have a weekly quote from the book. This one's from the Independence section from June. Despite being self-driven, independence can inspire a lot of excitement and enthusiasm in a team, mostly from their chaos-tolerant lifestyle. So it's a lot of people think that independence, they're self-driven, so they must be not like people. but like sort of introverts. But that's not really what we see at all. In fact, most of the independents I know, that's not true. Several of the independents I know love to spend time with people. They thrive spending time with people. And so it's not always as cut and dried as we like to think it is. So just because you're an independent doesn't mean you don't appreciate and value people. But it does mean that you don't need to be connected to get buy-in and that kind of thing. And so you're okay making decisions that might be unpopular is another way to think about it. All right, so weekly writing prompt. So this is a writing prompt. It goes in your planner. If you don't have a planner, you can still do them. What we have is what we want you to do this month. And this is an exercise we've had some of our coaching clients do. And that is, can you list out, I know you can. List out 100 things that you have done that are amazing, that you're proud of, that you're good at, that you've accomplished, that could not have been done without you, all of those things. And I bet all of you can easily write 100 things. 100 things seems like a lot. And you start writing them down, and you're like, oh yeah, that happened. And I bet you just start like this week, you could probably do a handful, right? And so if you really start thinking over the course of your life, you have a ton of amazing things you've done. And it's just really an awesome idea. I should warn you that I have been researching cognitive behavioral therapy. And this is you're going to hear more about this a lot. But basically what the idea is that your thoughts interact with your actions. So we can all identify with this, right? It's the idea of, I don't feel that great today, so I'm going to stay home. And then that makes me feel not so great, and that makes me stay home. And then I don't go out, and then I feel like shit, and on, right? So it's kind of get you into those spirals, right? Upward or downward. And you've had those moments, and certainly have known people that have those moments that are like, they feel good, they do something fun, that makes them feel better, they do something fun, that makes them feel better. So the other way works too. And so it's really important to think about how your mind and your actions interact. So be sure that one way to think about changing or think about like getting out of a funk or leveraging a good experience is to continue to create those changes and actions. And it's part of getting your head, because your head is harder to change than your actions. So one way to get your head around a change and around how to change how you're thinking is to start by trying to convince yourself why you're amazing. And 100 amazing things that you've done is a great way to start. So you don't have enough room on your planner, on your writing prompt area, but maybe start there. Maybe put your first 10 and then go on to an extra page. There's pages in the back you could use, so you can just get a notebook out and write down those 100 things. It is pretty fun to do. All right, so in the news. So this has been a fascinating time in the news. I actually am trying to read the news less and less, frankly. And you may be too. So one of the things that we were looking at is Arianna Huffington. I don't know if you know her, but she's the CEO of Thrive Global, and their focus is how do you take care of yourself? How do you prevent burnout? She's one of the people that promotes napping at work. Like, can we just do a little celebration on that? And so what she is encouraging, and you can see this all over, they're super promoting it right now, is that she has this idea of a 60-second rule. And what we've seen is, it says here that Walmart, the title of the article is Walmart and Salesforce execs follow Arianna Huffington's 60-second rule, so should you. The idea here is that the 60-second rule is the idea that you should do a tiny bit of self-care every single day. And then do it for 32 days, and then it becomes a habit. And most people can pull it off because it's such a small commitment. So what would you do if you had 30 seconds, 60 seconds a day to do something healthy? For me, let's see. This one, here's some of her recommendations. Practice gratitude is one way to do it. We've talked about that for me. Here's my gratitude journal. Probably woefully lacking lately, but here's my gratitude journal. I'm going to leave it out so I do it later. A gratitude journal, Just journal for a few minutes a day, write down what you're thinking. Those are some examples. I think things like, for me, it's getting up and moving around for 60 seconds, just walking around. You could probably, well, let's not be crazy. I don't want to do like jumping jacks and like exercise, but like I went earlier today, I walked out to go grab some more coffee, and I took the long way around, and I walked all the way around the building because it was a nice morning. And things like that, and little things like that can really change your perspective and your attitude and your approach. And it's an easy thing to do. It's not like, I got to carve out another half hour to do something crazy, or go to the gym, and then I got to change, and then I got to shower, and all of that. Do small micro self-care things. 60 seconds a day, that's a minute. You've got to be able to do it. So I'm going to say, I'm going to continue to do my journaling, try to do that a little more frequently. But the other thing is, for me, I just need to get up and move more. I can literally sit at my desk and not move for all day. Like, I mean, sometimes you gotta pee, but if I don't drink very much water or very much coffee, I can literally sit here all day and just get things done. So for me, it's really a matter of being aware of my body and checking out and doing things that I need to do to take care of that. So that's the thing that I'm going to do. So that is a really great news thing that we ran across this week. So now we're on to the questions section of our weekly live. And we have a couple questions for, let's see, I'm just going to, since the COVID crisis started, I have been assigned additional roles and therefore have to interact with additional supervisors within my organization. I'm struggling to keep my ducks in a row with multiple supervisors. They don't communicate with each other, and I'm often double scheduled and pull in different directions. How do I make my supervisors communicate? They are making me crazy. Well, first of all, you are probably in good company. This is why I work for myself, so I don't have supervisors that drive me crazy. But the first thing to realize is that you cannot actually make them communicate. So the onus is on you then to coordinate between your supervisors. So it doesn't feel fair and it doesn't feel right because they should be working stuff out. But frankly, they really stink at it, as you know. Most people do. So what I would do if I were you is I would start by documenting all of the things that you're doing for which supervisors. And then, and whatever your schedules might be, and then go meet with each of your supervisors and say, just so you know, these are the things that I'm doing for Nancy. Here's the list of things I'm doing for Shelly. Here's the things list I'm doing for Bob. And they might not care, but just having them be aware of your other commitments are going to at least then they know. And that way when you say, hey, I would love to work for you tomorrow night, but Bob has already booked me to work for him tomorrow night. And then you guys can sort it out. Or should I talk to Bob? What's a good option? And so the onus is on you. If it's making you crazy, then you need to figure out how to help the communication be better, more effective. One of the really important ways to do that. So most of us do not like confrontation or any kind of communication that feels like it could be a conflict. So what you could do is, that's why it's nice to have everything written down and very clear how much time you're doing where. This goes back to that project management piece I was talking about. Because if Bob comes to you and says, hey, I need you tomorrow, and you say, well, here's the schedule. Shelly has me booked already. I would love to work for you tomorrow, but I can't not show for Shelly's schedule. What do you think I should do? And that way, you're giving Bob the choice of how to help you manage your schedule, instead of just saying, sorry, can't do it, or rolling your eyes and stomping off and having to work a double shift. So be sure that you have everything together, you have everything written down, and you know exactly what's going on where, and then you be the communicator. So because they can't communicate next to each other, you're going to have to go to each one of them and make sure that everyone knows the story of you. Otherwise, they're not going to read your mind, they're not going to read each other's minds, and they're certainly not going to change their habits over the next few days or weeks. And plus, everyone's super stressed out. So you giving them feedback in a way that's constructive and helpful will actually make their life easier, which they will appreciate. And so, again, if you have the time to do that, well, make the time to do that because it will make your life a lot easier. Okay, question number 2. One of my big work projects for 2020 is to formalize our company values so we can effectively message our culture to our staff. Do you think that completing this project will help decrease our turnover? No. Part of the challenge is it's not just about knowing what your values are. A big part of culture and values are all about really what are the behaviors and the actions that you need. So this is the piece that really kind of falls down because most people stop while they figure out their values and they put the values on the wall, right? And everyone sees them as they walk by. Well, that's great. That's a good step. You need to do that. But what we can see happen is then the behaviors and the actions might not match. So one of the fun things that we do with clients is that Meg and I just worked through this earlier this week, that so having your values is important. The next step is how much energy, time, money, are you putting toward those values? So let's say that you have a family focus, that family is one of your major values of your company. Well, okay, so can you leave early to go see your kids' dance recital? Can you coach their baseball team after school? Do you have a liberal leave policy? Do you get vacation? Do you have time off? Do you get paternity leave? So if you are a family-focused company, how are you a family-focused company? Just saying the words is not enough. You have to create behaviors and actions that will actually establish that as a true value and a behavior in your company. Otherwise, it's just words on a wall and doesn't actually help anything. It actually can be worse if you have values on the wall and you don't actually act like those values. We've seen a lot of challenges where people are actually like, well, we're supposed to be value driven or whatever, customer oriented, but we don't seem to give a crap about our customers. So it can actually work against you to have those goals and not follow up with the behaviors and the actions. So that's one of the things that we work with companies on to carry that all the way through because we've seen it go wrong so many times. So good first step, but word of caution, keep going with it and really make a significant and a meaningful change in your organization. All right. Oh, this is such a fun story. Okay. So we have some good news, our last segment of the show. Good SGN, some good news. I don't even know where some good news went. They sold it to CBS or something, and we haven't seen it since. But we are still doing some good news. So it's super fun. There's this retirement and assisted living facility called Victorian, I'm just making sure I get this right, Victorian Senior Care. And what they do is they have a pen pal program. So smart. So what you can do is you can go out and sign up, register to become a pen pal for residents. What a brilliant idea. Shelly's going to post the link for you. So you can go to their page and become a pen pal. So what an amazing opportunity, both to stay busy and have something interesting and fun to do and meaningful to do during COVID. And also, as you know, a lot of assisted living and residential facilities are on lockdown. They can't even get visitors. So even people that might get visitors on the regular, they can't get there. So they hide through the window and other sad things. So there's probably rampant loneliness right now at assisted living facilities. So go out to this place, sign up to be a pen pal. If you want to have a meaningful impact in your local community, I am sure that you could reach out to any assisted living or residential facility, retirement home, whatever you have in your area, and ask if you could have a pen pal. And I bet they would give you the name of some of their patients and the folks that live there. So I think this is a brilliant idea. This would be a great thing for kids. A little story that I love to tell. So my niece Maddie Schulke, when she was a tiny little kid, adorable, let me just say, adorbs, my sister Deb's oldest daughter. They lived in Brookings, South Dakota, and they had a daycare in the nursing home. And so they didn't really interact a huge amount, but because the daycare is on one side of the building. But at lunch, they ate the same lunches. They went to always to visit the grandmas and the grandpas. Oh my God, it was the cutest thing ever. And they also got the children got a perspective of the elderly that is different than a lot of people have. A lot of children have the elderly. I remember when I was really little, I was kind of scared of my great grandma because she was kind of old and weird and creepy. Well, my niece Maddie, when she got to be at the nursing facility, her great grandpa, my grandfather, was there, and she got to know him. And when she played, she would pretend she walked with a cane. I took her to the bathroom once when she was still like 3 or 4, when she still needed help in a public restroom, and she saw the bars next to the handicap stall, in the handicap stall, and she said, "What are those for?" And I said, as in the way of 3 and 4-year-olds, and I said, "Oh, well, those are for people who have a hard time getting up, standing up and sitting down, or they are in a wheelchair, or maybe have a walker." And she said, "Oh, like the grandmas and grandpas." And that was it. Like, not weird, not strange, not whatever. And it was really awesome to see her understand and accept elderly in the way they probably should be respected and accepted. And it also gave the residents this amazing life. My grandpa was famous for having a candy dish at his house. And so whenever we'd go right for the candy dish. I mean, he had to give it to us. It's like old school. It's not like you just got to dig around in the candy dish. But when those kids, when they started that daycare in the nursing facility, he put an old purse on his wheelchair, because he was wheelchair bound, and he would hand out candy to the kids from his wheelchair. And so he was still able to have that joy in his life, even at the end of his days, which just makes me, this is awesome. So go check out the Pen Pal opportunity at the Victorian Senior Center, Senior Care. The other thing is, my mom also loves writing to my kiddo, and we're not very good at responding back. So, but my mom has a lot of fond memories of being a pen pal of her grandmother. So it is just a really great idea, and I'm really glad that Shelly found this for us today. So one last thing before we go, we have a social media challenge for you. Shelly, bless her heart, literally every live, every video, every interview, every podcast, every live that we do for other people, she has stripped out of Facebook or whatever and put on our YouTube channel. So our YouTube channel has hours and hours and hours of ridiculousness, some learning, some our podcast interviews of interest. We were just talking about how much we loved some of our podcast interviews. And if you go to our YouTube channel, it is Rose Group International, right? Are you going to post our link? Awesome. Shelly's going to post the link. Go like our page. I don't even know. Do we have any likes on our YouTube channel? Like 1 or something? Yeah. Like, help us out and make that a little better, if you would, please. That'd be really great. I don't even think I follow it, so I'm going to go there and do it too. 20, yes. Well, we have over 1,000 people in the group, so let's try to get that number up for us, and that way you'll get you'll get notices if you want to subscribe and actually get notices. You can follow, I think, without subscribing. I don't really know how that works, but you get a notice whenever something new pops up out there. So then you can follow all of the things. Regardless of what we're up to, how busy your schedule is, you can then have an opportunity to watch and learn at your convenience. So anyway, thanks so much, everybody. It was great to see you. Does anyone have any questions before we go? Because I have a few minutes left. When you don't have to share with Meg, or Meg doesn't have to share with me, it's amazing how much faster it goes. but I'm gonna give. It's always this weird delay, so give everyone a chance. Give her a minute. Okay. Nope. No comments or questions. Great. Well, thank you so much for being here. We always love to see you here. This is I think this is 2 years, almost 2 years since we started Wednesday Live. So like, it's blowing my mind. So crazy that we've been able to get almost 2 years. So we'll have to find the actual 2-year date and then have some kind of party or something. So another idea for some good news is Shelly inspired me. She sent flowers to one of our colleagues as just as a surprise, and so that inspired me to send flowers to a friend of mine in Australia. The internet is an amazing thing, and so try to do something extra kind for somebody today, because let's be fair, like we all need it, right? So have a great day. I should say our tagline. It's weird when Meg's not here, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So go lead powerfully and change the world. Talk to you soon, everybody. Bye.